I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast, episode number 111. This one's with Cory Connors, and we talk about sustainable packaging. I know this kind of came out of left field. I've been following Cory for a while on TikTok. It's very interesting to follow. Previous guest, Adam Kennedy, is the one that hit me to him. It was a really good episode. Good to talk to him about environmental impact of packaging. If you'd like to learn more about Cory, you can find him on Corygated.com, KORYGATED.com. There's outbound links there to his podcast and everything. But if you want to go directly to his podcast, you can go to sustainablepackaging.buzzsprout.com. I'm not going to spell all that out. Just Sustainable Packaging is the name of his podcast. And you can find links to all manner of podcast apps on sustainablepackaging.buzzsprout.com. It's very interesting. I appreciate Cory for coming on. Maybe he can come back on in the future. Sponsor this week is Feral Giant. Feral Giant is a graphic design, illustration, and social media consultation company based here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they do work for clients big and small all over the country, all over the globe, in fact. But they also do photography, videography, video editing, and audio editing, website design, SEO, writing, content development. Hell, they'll babysit your kids if it nets them money. So make sure you give them a follow on social media on either Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn at @FeralGiant. And be sure to give them an email today and hire them for your next project. Without much further ado, here's the episode.
It's a local meeting about waste collection for our county, and I really want to be a part of it because they're trying to take away the ability for a company called Ridwell to participate in the local waste stream. And have you heard of Ridwell or Recyclops?
No.
Okay, so what they do is they actually come to your house and they pick up recycling,
Right?
like a Uber style system where you know, like you and me could be drivers. Work part-time, work a couple hours here and there. It's awesome system, but they collect things like overwrap film, clamshells, molded thermoform clamshells, which are oftentimes just put into the landfill because people don't know how to recycle them.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Like, do your all city, do they do recycling through the city? Like our city, we all have, containers and they take it with, but they did something that really bothered me because I'm very meticulous and OCD.
Yeah.
So I'm very I clean out everything. I do everything correctly. I strip, paper away from metal. I do
nice.
all the
good
things.
For you. Thank you.
And then, and then I can't remember when it happened, but they made an announcement. They're like, we're no longer going to recycle glass. You have to take it to the center.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. And they said, we haven't been doing it for 6 months. And I was like, you're killing me. I would have done it. I would have happily done it. It drives me nuts.
That's so common. And that's such a frustrating thing for so many people like you and I, who are working hard to be sustainable with their lives. Yeah. And then they hear things like, oh yeah, we've been throwing those in the garbage for 6 months. It's like, come on, man. That's just tell us. It's just an education issue.
Yeah. Was it?
It's an email.
Darth Vader. No.
Right.
Please don't do that.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll start going through. Where are you originally from?
So I was born here in Portland, Oregon area.
Okay.
Grew up in the Northwest, bounced around a little bit around here. Traveled a lot, but always come back here. I love it here in the great Northwest. Oregon it's a beautiful state. And, I'm an hour and a half away from Mount Hood and an hour and a half away from the coast. We don't call it the beach here because it's cold. So we call it the coast.
Okay.
And we love it.
Okay. I am the exact same way, just change out Knoxville, Tennessee. So like 45 minutes from the Great Smoky Mountains, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable here. It is 98 degrees and 150% humidity during the summer, but
yes,
it's still I've traveled a lot. I've never lived anywhere else, and I can't. Every time I travel, like day 10, I'm like, all right, I gotta get home. I gotta go. I can't.
You're like me. You got to get home to feel secure. I heard there's a company. I know you. I'm sorry, I interrupted, but there's a company called Recyclops that is in Tennessee. They will pick up your glass from your house.
Okay, I'm gonna Cyclops.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, they did that because of what you just said, that their local municipalities wouldn't take glass anymore, so they set it up.
Yeah, that's wild. But it's somebody saw a need and just pounced on it. That's the smartest thing. Yep. What did your folks do for a living? Did they do anything in this world?
Well, actually, my dad did sales for about 20 years. He did sell in the packaging industry for a little bit with automation equipment. Yeah. But now, he ended his career with working as a longshoreman. So he went from, from as an 18-year-old as a welder in the shipping yards. Yeah. And he did that for as long as he could, and then he started his own company with his brother in the shipping, in the supply business for the shipping industry, like building ships, not actual shipping packages, but building ships. And then it's funny how he kind of came all the way back to the same docks that he worked at when he was a young man, and he finished his career. Retired just a couple years ago. And
your mom, did she?
Mom raised us 3 boys and 1 girl, and worked harder than anybody I've ever met, and just an amazing person. I respect her totally for what she did.
So your dad understood a little bit when you got into this world.
Yeah, he gets some of the stuff. He still shows me videos of, we made this spin trimmer for this plastic thing, he's like, he's so proud of what he did, and he should be, because it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah. What did you think you wanted to be when you were a kid?
Oh man, I wanted to be a baseball player like Cal Ripken Jr. That was obviously my dream, but I found out I was really bad at baseball.
That's certainly a little thing.
Yeah, minor detail, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, firefighter, and then obviously packaging sales. That was the next step after firefighter.
Can you imagine like a 8-year-old you showing up in a dress shirt and the top, being like, "Yep, this is what I'm gonna do."
We at my company, we wore ties for almost my whole career. Just a couple of years ago, they finally said, "You don't have to wear a tie if you don't want to." And we said, "Okay, thank you." But it was I worked for a company called Landsberg Aurora, and we have 55 locations across the country. We're one of the top packaging companies in the world, and we just always wore ties. All the sales force wore business attire, and so finally they said ties are just optional.
I usually wear shorts 365 days and whenever I go to meetings, it's always interesting because I'm kind of known. I joke jokingly own winter shorts and put little tree marks. And I'll be walking down the street with a date or a client, and one of my friends will be walking the other way and go, "Hey, I've never seen you in pants before." I was like, thanks.
Last thing you want to say to a date. Yeah.
So when your dad was doing that, was there stuff he brought home? Was there stuff you were interested in that world?
Oh yeah. He'd show us the stuff when we were kids, and I always say that, sales is in my blood. My grandpa was the number 2 sales rep in the country for AAA insurance. And he taught us how to talk to people, how to care about what somebody was saying to you, and fully absorb it. And just you and me are having a conversation. That's it. And my dad was the same way. It was really, that's how we grew up. We listen.
But on my end, it was my dad and my grandfather and my uncles, the Southern way of just BSing with people. And where my grandfather moved around a lot when he was a kid, but one of the places he lived was called Sharp's Chapel. And my dad took him back there when my dad was growing up. And he walked up, and it was a country store, and there were these 4 old men whittling out front. And he looked at the guys. He's like, "You got a spare piece of wood?" Pulled out his pocket knife and started whittling, and sat there and talked to them, and figured out they knew cousins. Just knew everybody. One big flat circle.
It's a small world we live in.
Yeah,
it constantly amazes me.
Okay. Did your dad get into sustainability since he was kind of in that field, or was that something kind of you found on your own?
He was always sustainable. It's interesting. In Oregon, we just have that way of life. And you look outside and it's green, it's beautiful, it's wet usually. But that creates green grass and green trees. And we recycle things. We take care of our land the best we can. We don't trash it. We don't toss stuff out the window. It's just like, nobody does that. We don't do that here. Why would you? We were the first state to have a bottle deposit, 5 cents.
Yeah.
Back in 1971, I think it was either 71 or 76, because the government here said, well, we need to be progressive with this.
Yeah.
And be more sustainable. And it sure works. I don't remember last time I saw a can or a bottle in a ditch around here.
Well, it seems like here, I think the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited tourist park, I think, in the country. And they have had to do campaigns of like, don't trash the Smokies, like actual like social media campaigns and ad campaigns, because that's
sad.
So bad. And don't spray paint, don't tag, don't do any of that stuff. And I'm from here, so I'm like, oh, those are the Georgia people. Those are the Alabama. Nobody from Tennessee would ever.
That's not locals, right?
No, local would never do that.
Yeah, good for you.
Did you go to school for engineering or something in this field? Or
I actually went to school at Portland State University, downtown Portland, for advertising. Oh. I wanted to make commercials. But when I graduated, nobody was hiring for that. So I went to a job fair on campus, and there was a packaging company. And I had spent the last 5 years paying my way through college working at a corrugated box factory, and thought, oh, well, I know about boxes, so I could try. And they hired me immediately, and I've been there ever since. I love it. It's different every day.
So I am a graphic designer. This is my 30th year being a graphic designer.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I went to a very rough high school, and it had a vocational department where you could learn.
I love that.
Yeah, like auto mechanics, upholstery, woodworking, like all that stuff. But the print shop, and I go back and talk to the kids a lot, there was only 2 computers in the entire school, and one of them was in print shop. And so I just kind of stuck with design. But when I was in college, I did a lot more like research on art and famous designers. And one of them, can't remember if it's Saul Bass or Paul Rand, but they did a lot of work for Container Corporation of America. I think it's like the branding and all that. And I had never thought about that as a company that makes packaging until then. Like,
it's the biggest industry nobody thinks about.
Yeah.
We just, they're predicting it'll be $1 trillion industry with a T in just a few short years. I'll have to connect you with some of my very talented designer friends, Kirk Visola, Andy Kurtz. Those guys are incredible designers.
It was wild. Like, so have you ever heard of PetSafe? Radio Systems Corporation. So they make the dog collars, like Invisible Fence.
Oh, yeah.
So I worked at PetSafe. Oh my God. I actually have my packages here. I'm so excited. But I worked there for 5 years as kind of a creative director, and we had 2 packaging engineers that's all they worked on. And it was one guy came in, he was like, no more plastic. I'm done with this. He's like, it's all boxes, cardboard. Yeah.
Good for him. I like it when people take a stand and can design sustainably. It's cool.
So you can yell at me for plastic on this one, but like this is one of the first ones I did.
Oh, that's nice.
But my thought was I actually went and toured the stores, and I noticed a lot of our packages were low because they're heavy. And so I developed like this angle with the window so you could actually
really like that
the product.
And to be clear, I'm not against plastic. I'm just against people that throw it in the landfill. Yeah. We need to recycle it if we're going to use it.
And this was I got made fun of for this one. Because we didn't have a lot of brand equity, and so my VP called this the big ass logo box. But
I like that.
I had worked in printing for so long. I was like, let's build a dial. The dial line is just a dial line. You don't have to we can do something fun with that. And it was weird how contentious this package came. I just started laughing after like meeting number 12. I was like, this is, it's a package, guys. Like.
And people get nervous to do things that are risky, like put a die cut in the middle of the box or put a huge logo on it. People get nervous.
Yeah.
Well, we never done that before. I've had so many countless conversations with customers. Well, we don't do that. Well, why not?
And I see the vice president that kind of did not like the big logo. A year later, Coca-Cola came out with this.
Yeah.
And so I bought it and set it on his desk. He was like, you were ahead of the curve. I was like, apparently I was. But yeah, it was wild working with like we worked like mechanical engineers who actually designed the products, packaging engineers, and I would actually sit down and work on how everything should look. And it was great. Like it was insane to actually have that much info. Because once you have that, it's a boon for the work you're producing too.
Oh yeah. So much to think about when you're designing a package for a product.
Yeah. So do you work with a lot of artists or designers or mechanical engineers in what you do every day?
Yeah. So a lot of times the customer will just bring us a packet, an item here. And so we have to figure out, okay, where are you selling this? How is it going to be on a shelf? Is it going to be hanging on a hook? Is it is it bulk? Is it direct to consumer? All of these things factor into how do we design the packaging. So I'll work with the structural designers first, usually. Then we'll give a die line to someone like yourself that will populate it with artwork.
Yeah. It's funny. I am doing an ad that goes on a napkin dispenser for
cool.
Edward Jones. But
Awesome.
I went online trying to find a die line. Can't see it. But like their measurements are off. I was like, no, there should be a die. Like I was sitting there critiquing the company for not having publicly available stuff.
And that's a big deal. I mean, you can't run, I don't know how many thousands or hundreds you're doing, but if it's off a 1/4 inch and they don't fit, you wasted your time.
Yeah. Luckily it is for a small coffee shop here in town that my friend is a gay woman, and it is a gay coffee shop, and she is doing Edward Jones. She was like, I want people to feel comfortable, so this is what I'm doing. So it's only like 10 of them. I was like, here's what I'll do. I'll fake the die line, and I'll actually cut it with an X-Acto knife.
I was going to say you can print those out on your computer. Yeah. Good
And
for
I was
you.
like, I'll go in there with you and actually I'll bring my X-Acto and a cutting board and I'll just make it work. And she was like, that sounds like a lot. It's like, it's not.
Yeah. Not for you. That's like making samples. No big deal.
Yeah. We have mock-ups. So in your day-to-day, do you set a lot of like goals in what you're doing long-term or checklists, like what you're wanting to do long-term and making it more and more sustainable?
Oh yeah. Really, it's been about building a community. And that's how I got selected as one of 100 people in the country for the LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program. Yeah. Because they liked the fact that I was really working hard to build a community of sustainable packaging enthusiasts that would and professionals that would go out into the world and spread that message and really build that up so that it has so that it grows and so that people learn about it. And now I think I got really lucky. It's all of a sudden became this massive trending thing in our world of packaging, where everybody wants to talk about sustainability, sustainable packaging. And we've been doing this here in Oregon for as long as I can remember. You know, my customers demanded that I was sustainable. Like, what are you talking about? We don't want that, like, no, that's not, we don't use that kind of material here. We use this. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever heard of Powell's Books? They're the world's largest independent bookstore. Yeah. They were one of my first customers, and they taught me, how to use, the minimal amount of material, how to use recyclable materials, how to use recycled material. All of these things add up really fast.
Yeah. Oh, I get mad in my own head at Amazon a lot when I'll get a package and it'll be this massive thing for the hanging frames, the magnet frames that, and I just look at it and go, this is like a 30 by 20 box for this thing that is this big. Yeah. Like, what? Get tubes, get something, just something small. Like, I don't understand it, but no, I just yell at the walls. Nobody else.
And they've taken a lot of criticism, but they're making a lot of positive changes. From what I've seen in more recent orders from them, they're making a significant difference, because frankly, if they use smaller boxes, it saves them money. Yeah. Yeah. They can't lose that way, happier customers, less costs, less material used, less freight cost. They can fit more in a van. All of these things add up really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. It ends up being what we jokingly refer to as real money. It becomes real money at a certain point.
They ship 1.6 billion parcels a year with a B.
Man, that's insane.
It's
only going to go up.
100%. Yeah, it's going to increase, and it will continue to increase in perpetuity until we stop ordering from them, which we won't, because they're so amazing at what they do.
I'm trying to remember, was you that were talking about taking the boxes back to the Amazon distribution centers? Was that you talking about that?
Yeah, that was one of my first real viral TikToks I made. And I just posed the question. I just had this idea. I said, what if, hey, consumers, if you could leave these boxes on your front porch or in a consolidated spot for people living in apartments or whatever, and Amazon could come pick them up for free. They might even pay you a small credit because they're going to save that money, that packaging cost. Would you be willing to do it? 30,000 responses later, 5 or 700,000 views or something like that on TikTok, and everybody was just like, yes, when can we start? That was a year ago, and I still get messages today on that post saying, when is this going to start? My garage is full. And it's like, well, I don't work for Amazon. I don't have any influence on Amazon. As much as I would like to ask them to start this program, I am not that guy. you know. So thank you.
You just find the email address of somebody there and just be like, email them. Yeah, get on that.
I've even talked to their sustainability folks, and they're great people.
Yeah.
They like the idea. There was some issues with cleanliness with COVID and things like that. So that kind of put a kibosh on it for a while, but I think it's possible. I think it's a feasible idea.
They tore down an old mall here that was pretty big. It's the mall I used to grow up going to, Easttown Mall, and it's now an Amazon distribution center. And they built one in the county adjacent to us that is 4 times the size of that.
Jeez.
And a friend of mine went and took photos, and it's this big monolith. It's just so ugly. I'm like, so the artist brain in me is like, why don't you hire artists to do murals on the side of these? Or
right.
Just something to make it not so scary looking.
And maybe an artist like yourself who's local that could draw, could paint, or make, or even hire you and print big vinyl posters or something like that about your local area. That'd be cool.
But I don't know if you know, there's a band called Godspeed You Black Emperor. It's like this post-rock, scary sounding band.
Yeah.
And my buddy took pictures of the building in black and white on film. And I was like, that's the greatest Godspeed You Black Emperor cover I've ever seen in my life. This is a big monolith of a building. Like, it's so terrifying.
That's cool.
Do you know what you would like to do, like, in the next 10 years?
Oh, I serve on a couple boards, for one for my kids' school and one for a local organization called Candlelighters for Children with Cancer. I think I'd like to get more involved with things like that, and continue this, push into the world of sustainability for packaging. My podcast has really taken off. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy this, being on your side or my side of the mic. It's fun. I love talking to people. I love getting to know about, you and whoever I'm talking to. It's fun. So I'd like to do more of that. I love my job. I love Landsberg, Aurora. They're a great company. I'm very loyal to them. So I plan to stay there as long as I can, but it is a very stressful job. So I don't know if I could stay there for 20 years, but we'll see. Maybe in a little bit different capacity.
Do you have a dream client to work with? Being in Portland, is it Nike? Like, is it?
Oh man, I actually have some really awesome customers now. That I work with, like Kershaw Knives, Kai USA, Shun Cutlery, Lamb Research. I love these companies that I work with. They're great people. But of course, there's some brands that if I got to work with Jordan, that'd be really cool. Or, Gary Vaynerchuk is like my marketing idol. He's the reason I started making TikTok videos. If I could ever work with one of his brands and work with him, that would be amazing. Just like, I would do that for free.
Well, tell him that. I'm cutting that out. We're not. We're gonna get you paid. Yeah.
You can tell him that. I think that's the kind of thing he would like. But he's the reason I'm here. He's the reason I have a podcast. He's just. And it's paid off so much in so many great ways, not just financially, but getting to meet great people like yourself.
Well, bar is very low. I always joke my top 2 dream clients. It is so low bar. It's Waffle House and Oreo. Those are my dream clients. Waffle House and Oreo.
I'd be honored to work with either of those brands. Yeah, amazing people.
Wait, being up there, have you had Waffle House ever before?
I've had it. I don't remember where I was, but it was delicious. Yeah. Yeah. And I love Oreos, so
Yeah.
I knew we'd be friends.
I will say, if you can find, they've released. I am the biggest nerd for Oreos.
Yeah.
If you can find, they released a new flavor called Toffee Crunch that is
Okay.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a limited time thing.
I like the vanilla ones. Or are they vanilla or the kind of cream colored ones? What are those?
Oh yeah, yeah, the golden.
Golden. That's right. Yeah.
I will say the lemon ones too taste like the old lemon, I think, Necco cookies from when I was.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
It's so good. It's so artificial tasting, but it's so good.
Not healthy.
No. What would you like to see more of in the flow of product delivery? Are there things that are kind of outside of what normal people would think, or think people would think about normally?
I'd like to see people consolidate shipments more. I think it's such a knee-jerk reaction to, I need this tomorrow. Even if let's just assume you buy everything from Amazon. Yeah. What if you could click a button on Amazon that said, hey, consolidate my stuff till Friday. None of this is urgent. I don't need it. And they could consolidate it into one box. That would save so much fuel, so much CO2 emissions. It would be, or even potentially you pick it up when you're at the grocery store. There's a pickup there where you go get your weekly deliveries from your, DTC stuff. Things like that, I think, are the future. I'd like to see more of that. Even drone delivery. I don't know. We'll see. That could be. That's possible.
Yeah. All right. With mail order being such a huge part of our lives, and sorry, I should give me a heads up on this. What are a few things that regular people should be doing, you think?
Oh yeah. To improve their sustainability.
Yeah.
Don't buy it if you don't need it. Of course we all have our guilty pleasures and things that we enjoy. Buy that, support the economy, but don't just buy frivolous things and then throw away things that you could be using. It's a problem. It's a real issue globally. The Throwaway Society. I read a book called Secondhand that talks about how our clothes that we wear and we donate to Goodwill that don't get purchased here go to China, and then they go to India, and then they go to Vietnam, and then they go to Malaysia. Eventually they get to somebody who will appreciate them. But to me, that's a lot of freight for buying that band t-shirt that you just don't really like, and aren't excited about. So I think it's just it's a simple, maybe wait 12 hours, before you buy something. That my buddy Adam Peake always says, I wait 24 hours before I buy something now. And it's changed. He said, a lot of times I don't buy it. And I said, wow, that's interesting. So something to consider.
And I just thought about that. I was thinking about, like, I'm big into vinyl and that plastic that's on it, but there's a lot of smaller labels now that are doing actual, like, sleeves instead of the plastic. And I think this is a lot better because
reusable.
You use that. I like that a lot. And but I'm looking at like 6 albums on my stack over here, all plastic, all just the wrap. I was like, damn it.
And we're all good consumers, especially during this COVID pandemic. And because, you get bored, you look at your phone and you order stuff, and it's just, this will be interesting. This will change my life for the better.
For the next 15 minutes.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm not perfect, nowhere near, but I think as an overall sentiment, something I'd like people to remember is just buy less. You don't need all of the things that you think you need.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on.
Thank you, sir.